Hi, I'm Rob, and in this Gems of War video, I'm going to take a look at the Soulforge and tell you what I think of the troops and weapons in there this week, what's worth crafting and what you should possibly avoid. As well as that, I'll be taking a look at this weekly event troop, the Cobalt Drake. Anyway, I'm thinking of a career where I estimate crowd sizes at different outdoor events. I wonder how many people are in that field. Oh my god. It's so bad, it's just bad, but good. Anyway, Cobalt Drake deals magic +3 splash damage to an enemy, then converts 4 brown gems to blue dragon gems. So I have to try it out really to test it, see how good it is, but yeah, quite interesting. But if there's a lot of brown gems on the board, then it's going to be very random how well that spell works for you. It could well set up the opposition for some mana instead. Traits are gain 1 life on 4 or 5 gem matches, deal 2 damage to a random enemy on 4 or 5 matches, and reduce damage from skulls by 30%. But importantly, it does use red, which is relevant to the Pathfinder troop we're getting in the Journey event. The one that's a bit like Chalcedony and Todd and Secra, where it generates tons of colour. And this is going to be the red one on the Pathfinder, so very usable in that team. But I'm going to sit on the fence now and give Cobalt Drake a average, a 5 out of 10, but it could be better than that because that mana gen as well as that splash damage could actually be really useful. But yeah, 5 out of 10 for you, matey boy, just for now. Alright, let's take a look in the Soulforge then and see what is going on in there. Take a look at the weapons first. All the weapons that are here all the time, like the Eye of Zathanos, Shattered Blade, Broken Guard, etc., are in my Soulforge Extra video, which goes over all the weapons and troops which are here all the time. That'll be in the description below. But first up, we have Scaled Blade. Deals magic-based damage to an enemy, boosted by red allies and dragon allies. So the more red allies and dragon allies you have in your team, the bigger that boost. It's an okay amount of damage. It's nothing fantastic, more collectible than anything. So yeah, it's just alright. You can pick that sort of thing up if it's going to move your kingdoms on to the next level because you're blocked by needing to own so many weapons to progress a kingdom, things like that. Explosion. Explode 4 gems of a chosen colour, heal magic-based life. Again, not too bad, a little bit of healing ability, a little bit of mana gen, but again, nothing fantastic. And next up is the Mystery Egg. The mystery is it any good? It's okay. Creates 8 red and 8 yellow gems, then summons either a dragon egg or fell dragon egg. That's the mystery. What do you get? Do you get any mana? Does it work? Does it set up the opposition? And do you get a dragon egg or a fell dragon egg? But either way, potential decent mana gen and a summon at the same time. So not bad, but again, not outstanding. Volcanic Shield. Gives magic +1 armor to an ally. If the ally uses red mana, give double armor. And if the enemy has a boss, explode all red gems. So effective against bosses in the enemy team. That is going to be really effective at generating mana without exploding all red gems. But apart from that, again, just okay, just armor gain. Mace of Claws. Magic-based damage to an enemy boosted by dragon allies. Then create a mix of 6 red and purple gems for each dragon ally. So this uses green and brown, creates red and purple. So make sure a couple of your other troops do actually use red and purple to make the most of that lovely mana generation. Talk of the Dragon. Remove all red gems. Deal damage to the enemy and enemy boosted by gems removed. And if the enemy is from Dragon's Claw, or if the battle is in Dragon's Claw, deal double damage. So this is kind of the anti-dragon weapon in a way. Dragons like red, that is their favourite colour, and you do extra damage against Dragon's Claw enemies. So yeah, pretty good in that certain situation. Doomed Focus. Create 4 red gems plus 1 gem per tempering level. Give magic +1 armour to all yellow allies, and if the enemy has a doom, eliminate all armour from a random enemy. Not very good. All things that start with doomed are not that great. Some people think that a doomed anything is really good. It's not the case. This sort of thing is really ineffective at a low level right now. Create 4 gems plus 1 per tempering level. That's going to be a very small amount of gems. That's going to be very lucky if you generate any decent mana from that. But on the higher level, at +10, that's going to be a really good amount of gems. So it will generate lots of mana. But the other parts of the spell are not that great. Uses yellow, give magic +1 armor to all yellow allies. So to get the most out of that, you actually have to have all yellow allies. And if the enemy has a doom, again, the enemy has to have that to make the most of that, eliminate all armor from a random enemy. And even then, that random enemy could be somebody you've already hit and already taken away the armor from, which could make that, again, largely ineffective. Not great. Tauraeus deal magic-based damage to an enemy boosted by Dragon's Claw allies. Then create a mix of 6 red and purple gems for each Dragon's Claw ally. So similarly to the other one, this uses green and yellow, generates red and purple. Make sure a couple of your other troops at least use red and purple to generate from all that mana, and you've got a very effective weapon there. What else we got? Anything? There's often one sneaking around at the bottom somewhere, but not today. So that is it for the weapons. Now onto the troops. Again, similarly to the weapons, all the troops that are here all the time, like Zul'Goth, etc., are in my Soulforge extra video, which is in the description below. I'll put a link in the description. But first up we have Tauraeus. Does damage to all enemies, boosted by his attack, life and armor, then knocks the first enemy to the back. The knock the first enemy to the back mechanic is actually pretty useful in many situations, but it's not worth that hideous amount of damage. I mean, the damage to all enemies boosted by his attack, life and armor is one thing, but the boost ratio is 10 to 1. That's hideous. If you had 200 combined life and armor, that means you're only going to get a boost of 20 to that. That's just rubbish. What the heck? Anyway, there he is, and he gets reduced damage from skulls by 20% and give 4 attack to all red allies when matching red gems. So yeah, not great for a mythic. You can boost it up by having it in last place and using a troop like Empress to boost up its power, but yeah. Tauraeus, never mind, mate. Champion of Anu silences, stuns and drains all mana from an enemy, deals damage to them and all enemies below them. So if you manage to cast this on the troop at the top, which is often going to be the case because that is going to be the one that's going to be getting mana a lot of the time, then you're going to get damage to all enemies below at the same time. But similarly, also quite often the best troops are near the back, protected. So basically when you do that, you cause less damage because there's not going to be as many enemies below them. Some fairly good traits as well. Reduce damage from skulls by 60%, and all blue allies gain 1 to all stats at the start of each turn. Really effective if you're a newer player, gets less effective as you get more powerful in the game. So yeah, he's okay. There's nothing amazing. Queen Aurora. Pretty decent. Give all other allies a barrier and magic +1 life, then create 10 gems of a chosen mana colour. Now the cool thing about that is chosen colour, any colour you like. So there's normally one dominant colour on the board, which is going to be obviously the one which quite often you're going to want to pick because that gives you an extra turn if you get a 4-match, as well as that charge up. The troops in your team that use that colour, so it can be really good in that way. And don't dismiss Rainbow Link as not being that great. Gain bonus mana from all gem matches is actually really, really powerful. Like when you collect mana from anything, you get literally bonus mana from everything, every single time across all colours. That's actually pretty huge to be fair, and it's immune to Death Mark as well. So Queen Aurora, kind of underrated, a funny troop in a way, but definitely not as bad as it first looks. Jotnar Storm Shield does true damage to an enemy boosted by barriered allies and giant allies. The traits: gain 2 life on 4 to 5 gem matches is not that great. Again, more effective if you're a newer player with lower stats. And give a random ally a barrier on 4 to 5 gem matches is pretty decent. You can boost that damage by getting them 4 matches and getting a barrier. But yeah, he's okay if not spectacular. Now we'll move on to the legendaries quick. Don't usually recommend crafting legendaries. You're much better off saving your hard-earned diamonds for the much harder to get mythics. But first up we have Valfire Hunter. Choose one. Do like these choose one troops. Very good indeed. Deal magic-based true damage to a single enemy boosted by blue gems, or deal the same amount of splash damage to an enemy boosted by blue gems. You're normally going to want to go for the true damage option, but the cool thing about this troop is it makes it viable in different types of team. You can have it in a true damage team by using that first option, or you can have it in a normal damage team by using that second option. So yeah, nice versatile troop there. And reduce damage from skulls by 65% is really good. The first trait is good as well. Start battles with 25% mana. And gain 3 mana when matching 4 or more gems. So a really nice set of traits at the same time. And next up we have Glaceon. Another powerful troop. You see this in Guild Wars quite a lot. Transform yellow gems to blue and transform red gems to doom skulls and freeze the strongest enemy. Again, a decent set of traits. Immune to frozen, reduce damage from skulls by 65% and gain 3 attack when an enemy matches skulls. So again, nice effective troop there to have in first place. Reduce damage from skulls by 65% makes it tanky, and if it gets charged up can be absolutely devastating with its spell. So Aurora, like this, again, one of these troops which is more effective than it first appears. Explode a column and deal magic +3 damage to all enemies. So mana gen from that explode a column, and if you look carefully you can often make a 4 match from that at the same time. Then damage to all enemies. But one of the things I like most about this is that third trait. Entangle the first enemy on 4 or 5 gem matches. This kind of troop is really effective against those book teams, those skull crazy teams. The fact it entangles the first enemy on simply by getting a 4 match, not a random entangle, the first enemy, means that those book teams are rendered ineffective on a 4 match, providing the top troop isn't impervious or immune to entangle or anything like that. But in those situations, Aurora a really nice option for a good way to defend against those annoying book teams. And Scion deals magic-based true damage and drains 7 mana from all enemies. It's not as effective as it seemed to be. It used to be pretty good at first. That drains 7 mana from all enemies was annoying more than anything, just slowed things down. And it still can be viable in some places. But the fact that that's a set amount of drained mana means that's all it's ever going to do. And the trouble is now there's so many ways to generate mana quickly in the game, this guy is becoming less effective all the time. And there's nothing too fantastic about the trait. Immune to silence is useful because that is annoying. And steal enemy mana when dealing skull damage is pretty decent as well. But yeah, Scion, not bad, not spectacular. But who gets my super coveted, not Mythic of the Week? Well, we've got a bit of a motley crew to pick from here. Can't be Jot and Eyes, that's not that great anymore. And it's certainly not going to be Tauraeus, so it's going to be between Champion of Anu and Queen Aurora. Champion of Anu is decent. I'd say these are roughly the same kind of level, Champion of Anu and Aurora. But just because she's super flexible, and you have those teams where you have like your first 3 troops and they're the main bread and butter of how your team works, and the 4th slot is kind of vacant and spare. She's a really good one to put into this kind of thing because gain bonus mana from all gem matches is going to affect literally all the rest of your team on every single move you make apart from a skull hit, and the spell is pretty useful as well when she casts it. So Queen Aurora gets my Mythic of the Week, and I never thought I'd be saying that, but I did because I just said it. But there it is, there's the video. If you enjoyed it, found it useful or helpful, be really cool if you bash that like and subscribe button. But most of all, thanks for watching. I'll catch you again next time. Bye for now.